We are going to show you how to operate the Hillman 4100 and 4100A semi-automatic key machine. Always remember to wear your safety glasses. It's very important. First of all, I would like to show you the proper way of holding a key when you're placing them into the vice jaw. And it is very important to hold it properly to get an accurate depth adjustment. You want to hold the head of the key with your thumb and your first finger behind the head, placing your index finger on the tip. This way the key will lay nice and flat in the jaws. You take your key and slide it into the right jaw using the standard setting. Snug it down. Take your left key, inserting the same way. Slide it into the vice jaw. Step 2, pull down your gauge fork. Move your lever handle very lightly up, and when it shoulders one key, then you'll be able to adjust it to make sure that you are shouldered very nice and tight against the gauge fork. The next step is to lift up your gauge fork up out of the way. Now that you have your two keys put in and properly aligned and adjusted, you got the pattern key or customer's key, and you have your blank key to be duplicated. You will notice on the customer's key or the pattern key next to the shoulder, there's a little area there before the first cut. That is called the neutral area. When you get ready to operate machine, you want to grab your lever handle in your left hand and hold the carriage handle between the jaw vice assemblies and press down completely, holding it down. Underneath there is a trigger assembly. So the next thing you do is turn on your on rocker switch to the on position, press down on the handle, pull out your trigger assembly, place the key slowly to the running blade. You don't want to slam it in and a little bit off the shoulder in that neutral area once it's been aligned. Once it's up there, release the carriage handle, and on this machine, when you pull down your lever handle, you want to do it in a steady, slow, smooth motion. You don't want to jerk it, you don't want to stop, you want to make sure it's completed. And you want to make one pass, and you pull the lever down to the left side. Now once you do that, you pull it down slowly and evenly without any erratic jerky motion. Follow customer's key, looking at the key tracer. Once you get past the tip, then you push the carriage handle back up to the right. You will notice that you will hear a little bit more of the cleaning up of the key. You could make another pass if you like, and that you know that you got all your cuts properly completed. The next step is to press down the carriage handle and always shut off your machine. The next step is to deburr the key. So you want to remove the key on the cutter side. Next step is to then turn on your on-off switch, which will start the deburring brush. Holding key firmly. Stick it underneath the deburring brush at a downward angle and hold it securely. Flip over key and do other side very lightly. There's no need to use hard pressure you want to just lightly clean the chips off the key. Now, if you notice that the chips are not coming off and it's a little bit rounded over, it's a good indication that your cutter blade is getting dull if you have to put any more extreme pressure. The next step is to shut off machine by hitting the on-off switch. Put the duplicate cut key down, and always remember to remove the customer's original key out of the vice jaw. Now we have completed the operation of cutting a single-sided key. Now we are going to show you how to cut double-sided keys and keys that do not have any shoulders. And you will notice that most automotive keys do not have a shoulder, and they must be tip gauged. You will also notice the first thing you want to check is look at your key, and if you see and you notice a center mill down the middle of the key, or maybe a little bit slightly off to the left or right side, you know that's an indication to rotate your jaws to the X position. Basically, it's kept on the standard for house and padlock keys, but when it's necessary to cut automotive key, you must rotate your jaws to the X. That is done by loosening up your wing nut a few turns, grabbing the bottom jaw and pulling towards you and rotating and making sure that it snaps back in. The X will be pointing towards the cutter, and you always want to remember that on the other jaw, you always want to make sure each jaw is set on the same setting. So the next thing you want to do, and best thing to do, is turn down your wing nuts a little bit down, a little bit thicker than the blade of a key, so you more or less can slide the other key in easily. First of all, you want to take your key, your blank key that you're going to duplicate, and you will notice by the left side of the jaw, there is in the bottom of the jaw itself for automotive keys on the X side, there is a V groove on the bottom of the jaw. The V groove actually slides into the mills and holds the key very securely. So once you place your key, you hook it into that V groove and basically just slide it over to the right. The main thing you want to remember, you want just a little bit of the tip of the key past the right side of the jaw. The next step would be to pull down your lever just slightly towards the left and gingerly push your lever, carriage lever back up, and you want the tip of the key to tip gauge into the inside of the gauge fork itself. Now you are prepared to take your customer's key or the original key and go to the left side of the jaw, finding that V groove, slide the key in, and slide it right into the outside of the gauge fork to shoulder up the keys correctly. Once you have this, you are ready in the cutting position. You want to tighten down, make sure everything's nice and secure. The next step is always remember to remove your key gauge in the up position. And also, before starting to cut, always wear a good quality pair of safety glasses for your eye safety. Now, to operate this machine and to get in the cutting position, you will notice on the automotive keys that there is a little area here called a neutral area, a little bit before the first cut. That's where you want to start cutting. When you slide it over, you want to get your key tracer, key guide up to that area and stage it there. The next step is to turn on the machine with the little rocker switch in the on position, holding your lever handle in your left hand gives you good cutting position. Pressing down on your carriage handle in the middle of your vise assembly, and by taking your first finger underneath the trigger knob, pull out, and the secret is to pull up and hold that trigger assembly out in one swift motion. You don't want to stop or jerk. So you place it up against the running blade and you release your right hand. The next step is to pull down your lever handle. You always want to pull it down in a smooth fashion, no jerky motions, and a steady motion. So once you start pulling down, you just keep on going. Watch the cuts of the customer's key, and when you finish towards going down the tip, you want to complete the cut by moving back the carriage and using your handle to go to the right. It's always a good idea to make sure you can make another pass real quick to make sure you get all the cuts complete. It's very important when cutting automotive keys. So what you want to do next is you want to press down on your carriage handle. You will definitely feel a click that it's down in the lock position. And always before removing your key is to shut off the machine. Now, something you want to remember on automotive keys, and this will reduce the misalignment or miscuts, is leaving the original key in because the cuts on automotive keys are both the same on each side. So you basically just want to take out your cut key and rotate it to the other side. And same way, you already have your left customer's original key shouldered up, and then you just loosen up your blank key to cut, tighten up firmly, and you are ready to cut the other side. So here again, turning on the machine, grabbing your lever handle, pressing down, pulling out the trigger assembly, moving it up to the neutral spot. Basically you want to start, a little ways from the first cut, so you know that you're gonna get that in the right cutting position. Pull down in a one steady motion, slowly but surely, no jerky or erratic movements. Always complete your cut by going back. And like I said, if you like to, you can go back over it again. It's always a good idea to make sure that all the cuts are completed. Now, like I stated before, always shut off the machine before the key is removed from the right jaw. Now, the next step is to remove your key, and what you want to do is after you remove the key, you want to deburr it. So, deburring the key, what you do is you hold it in your right hand firmly with your thumb and finger, and hold your tip of your left hand to steady the key, and you turn on the on switch and place your key under the brush at a downwards angle. Lightly remove the chips on one side and then the other. No need for hard pressure. If you're experiencing hard pressure where a lot of the cuts are rolled over, or you're having a hard time removing the key chips, that indicates your cutter is going bad, and I recommend that you replace the cutter at that point. Basically, a new sharp cutter will practically leave hardly any burrs, and they come off very easily. Then, once you do that, you put your customer's key down and you shut off the machine. Then, the next step is to remove customer's key, place on a table, and you are complete.